Hello everyone, I'm Brian Croydregan and welcome back to Choice of the Petal Throne. A man so little notice they give us before they whisk you away, chided Mama Hale as she watched slaves arrange your Gudru silk kilt and fashion the gilded pectoral about your neck. It is barely enough time for a decent wedding. Wait, It's barely enough time for a decent wedding, and with so many young people heading off at the competition for the best artists will be fierce. An officer of good clan in a city suddenly passionate about matters military. You were a very eligible match. The clan of your intended was pushing for the marriage arranged when you were 5 to be consummated before the war carried you away. As such, you found yourself being draped in cloth and weighted down with jewelry, though no headdress like Lord Hanala, in preparation to meet your betrothed. I was excited to be married. A spouse to live at home and manage clan affairs and children is very useful to a military officer, who, unlike most Soliani, lives a life far from the bonds of clan and yet is no less reliant upon them. While the dressers busied themselves about you and Mama Hale extolled the many virtues of marriage, you imagined a tidy apartment to return to filled with wives and children. Monogamy is not prized in Solianu, jealousy viewed as a shameful emotion, and it is not uncommon for men and Eridani women to take a second or third husband or wife, later of their own choosing. With a final critical look and some personal adjustments to the drape of your kilt, Mama Hale gave her misty-eyed approval and escorted you to the sitting room. Ayin sat upon a high stack of cushions, picking at the non-existent lint on her perfectly pleated grey kilt. She was thin and gangly looking, and the fashionable clones draped upon her frame. Her eyes raised to meet you as you entered, then fell again. Thank you for welcoming me to your clan house. The Blue Girdle are honoured by this alliance. She recited woodenly from memory, before returning to examining the weave of her kilt. I started my hostly duties and tried to stimulate conversation. With the aplomb of one brought up in the social milieu of a great city of the empire, you managed to carry a one-sided conversation, moving from unanswered questions to amusing anecdotes and wry observations. But the more you spoke, the more nervous Ayen became. She reached a jittery hand for her wine cup to moisten parched lips. At her touch, it exploded, sending liquid and shards across the room. Oh! Ayen scurried to pick up pieces of glass, suffused with embarrassment. When I am nervous, my Petal lashes out. You noticed the conspicuous lack of metal jewelry in her costume, a sure sign of a practicing sorcerer, and also the spreading spot of blood upon her kilt, from an errant shard. When the wound was pointed out, Ayen stared for a moment, then made the fluid dance like motions of ritual casting. Lifting her kilt, she picked the piece of glass now lying on unblemished flesh, and set it with the other remains of the cup. Fixing the flesh is simple. Priests of Loomis can fix books and those of Sarul the eyes, but sadly cups are beyond me. I suppose one could summon a demon, but well, the sacrifices involved would make it rather purposeless for a cup. Awkward silence followed this pronouncement, and your intended appeared to appeared content to sit in stillness indefinitely. This was interrupted only when servants entered to supply shametal, wine, and other assorted delicacies. The rustling presence provided only a brief interlude, however. I am sorry, in the monastery things are different and my arcane studies left me little time to socialize. She gave a wistful sigh as if the prospect of long days alone with scones were a source of much nostalgia. I was about to attain the 7th circle, before my cousin died, and my father pushed me forward as a replacement. Once reread, I don't suppose they'll let me return. Once more she lapsed into silence, ardently fingering a medallion of Beck, an aspect of Loomis concerned with theoretical underpinnings of reality. Then, as if a floodgate had been opened, Aine began to prattle on about the monastery and her life as a holy oracle and ascetic. As the afternoon progressed and the beleaguered ex-priestess drank more wine to which she was unaccustomed, a story emerged. It centered on her father's ambition to, in one stroke, make herself central to a new clan alliance and bring a valuable daughter back home, where her psychic predictions could be used for profit and advancement within the politics of the empire. The plot was clear to you, but you had the feeling that Aine, with her eyes fixed on the mysteries of Beck, was too farsighted to see the machinations. The effect was like watching a Hema led to the slaughter, bleating and distressed and unsure why. It was at that moment that you offered to scuttle the marriage, freeing Aine to return to her solemn contemplations of the infinite. You did not know how thwarting the injustice would earn the white-hot hatred of her father and lead to assassins dogging your footsteps. But still there was an obvious risk in upsetting the plans of your family, lineage, and clan. Why did you do it? Out of charity. Such kindness. Aine looked upon you as a savior, but her family looked upon you as a villain. Lifting the heavy pictorial from your shoulders in the gentle lamplight of your room, Mama hailed his own smiles. What did you think of your suitor? I'm sorry, but I won't consent to this marriage. Mama Hale shook her head ruefully, looking down. That is your right, but it is never wise to upset the clan. Who will you be coming to when you next need money for a promotion or ransom for some young Koryani who has captured you in battle? The same elders whose wisdom you are flouting. She threw up her hands. I suppose it's pointless to argue with you. You found yourself standing the next morning before the assorted, retired mold cars, rising priests, and fossilized bureaucrats that made up the eldest, highest status members of Clan Sea Blue present in Jakala. There was much grumbling in your direction and giving of moralizing speeches. When the speechifying had begun to slow, one old bureaucrat, slowly chewing on a twist of Hineku leaf, motioned for you to speak. In a respectful tone, with brief honesty, you expressed your gratitude to the clan, but made clear that this arrangement was not something you would go through with. Some were unimpressed, others surprisingly sympathetic, still others clearly bored by the entire procedure. One elderly priestess raved dismissively and said, "At least this one is a soldier and of use. Why not grab one of the dozens who lay about till noon, then spend our route in wine houses till dawn, and make them serve?" Though all the others seemed rather embarrassed by the remark. By the time you were dismissed, it was clear that you had escaped the match, also that you had burned good well in doing so, and should not return asking for more favors anytime soon. You could only hope that in the years while you were away fighting in Yancourt, this would all blow over, or dream that your victories would be so great as to overshadow all youthful transgressions. The last time you saw your family in Jacala, they were assembled in the atrium of your warm familiar clan house. You all believed that the war would be against the Koryani, the factitious barbarians to the north, led by the traitorous Baron Ald. Your clan elders were grave. Each touched your hand or shoulder and asked Lord Hanala to watch over you and bring you home. Mama Desai stood fiercely erect, radiating pride as she struck her fist to her ceremonial breastplate and saluted one officer to another. Otulengba, all hail! She shouted, and a ragged chorus of your clansmen joined her. Mama Hail, her eyes red from crying, tried and failed to give you a carefree smile. Your followers cradled her in their embrace, making vain, comforting noises as she wrapped into the circle of their arms. They nodded to you and wished you well, blinking furiously. I hugged Hale tightly, tears in my own eyes. Come on over, Alex. Hey. What? As you pressed her to you, she cried even harder. Then coming to herself, she dried her eyes and tugged at the folds of your uniform. Here, she sniffed. You're creasing it. I won't have my beautiful soldier looking less than perfect. Brother Gayan pressed an amulet into your hand for protection and grinned. Bring me home a dozen pretty slave girls once you've conquered the north. Not too hairy. At this, one of your elderly aunts piped up. Just one slave boy for me would suffice. I like hairy men, causing much laughter and breaking the somber mood. Saeed was the last to embrace you. With a passionate kiss, she whispered, return to me, and smiled through tears. (2360 to 2365 AS). Now a decade later, you sit in your palanquin, facing battle against your own countrymen and a siege against the Solyani city. The northern enemy you set out to fight has become the ally of the official government. While the legions of the empire have been divided between princes and princesses, each vying to be one to defeat their usurping brother and crown themselves. From seaside Jacala, Prince Rereshkala has declared himself the protector of the south, keeping the usurpers' soldiers at bay, maintaining peace and prosperity within his territory, but loudly proclaiming a disinterest in becoming emperor. You remember being on your first solo assignment as a new Kasai, your Sarum pushing through the mountains of Yankor, clearing a path for the main army to follow, exhausted in the thin air and low on supplies, when a breathless runner from the body of the main legion brought word of the old emperor's death at the hands of his youngest son. The last cask of spirits was broken, and the soldiers sat around thin, smoky fire to drink to his memory, singing sad songs in the clear, cold desert night. A week later, the official messenger arrived from Prince Dehaichun, now titled Emperor Eternal Splendor, declaring peace with Yankor and recalling all units of the 15th Jacala. The spindly man bedecked in the copper of Sarku delivered the proclamation with an air of command. Follow my orders, send him away with empty promises. Tell him I don't recognize his authority or kill him. Best play it safe for now. Amidst the grumbling of your serum, you retreated back from the pass, giving up ground it had taken you a month and many lives to secure. General Bashuan, his Samarin, met you in the lowlands with the entire strength of the army. Orders have come in from Prince Vereshkala were to march towards Akala as slowly and indirectly as possible, flying the prince's banners the whole way. It's a stall. All of the princes know this road needs to war, but none want to draw first blood. He snorted, showing what he thought of that. A year later, you were skirmishing with the false emperor's soldiers over green fields under the direction of the Roman, now promoted to Dritland, less for competence than for the values of his family connections. Word came of the birth of twins to Gaian's wife, two strong girls who Spurtquas broke the clan house. Mama Hale named them Thunder and Lightning. She says it's so Lord Caracan would favour them in this time of war. And we all know it's because they're going to keep us up all night and destroy everything in their path. I asked for leave to visit my new children. Dritland the Roman looked pained at your request, as if his lunch had not sat round with him. Kasai, the family feeling does you credit, but I need you here until the harvest. You're a soldier, not a nursemaid, and I can't have you travelling across the empire with every birth. With that, your request was denied, and he moved smoothly on to questioning your plans for the next week, and suggesting his own refinements. You were left writing a letter and enclosing a gift in lieu of visiting. What did you send? A pair of stuffed Schlen beasts dressed in blue dawn clones. A very cuddly and appropriate gift for which Mama Hale would be forced to sew many outfits in years to come. Seasons turned, alliances shifted. Allies became enemies, or enemies allies, and the only constant was war. Your serum grew from fresh-faced adolescents to scarred veterans, and when friends died, as many did, and new boys or girls were sent to fill their places, you shook your head in wonder at their youth and naivety. The most youthful and naive of all was little Rayana, Dritland the Roman's Batman. Drafted despite her low birth in a time when anyone who could hold a sword and shield was welcome in the lines. She'd grown into a giant of a girl, putting on muscle and height at an alarming rate, and was always hungry in those lean years. No one was more devoted to the Legion of the Ruby Hand's honor. and the cobbler's daughter who felt honoured merely to march in its ranks. You led your soldiers through deserts and potential swamps, learning more of warfare in 5 years of constant battle than you could have in decades of peacetime. Then in the summer of 2365 you travelled along the road to Sengmire. Well, that's all for today, everyone. I'm Brian Croydragon, signing out. Stay straight!